The throne room of the Zephyrian Empire stretched for nearly a kilometer, its crystalline walls pulsing with bioluminescent veins that cast an ethereal blue glow across the assembled court. 10,000 beings from across the galaxy knelt in perfect silence, their diverse forms creating a tapestry of submission before the massive obsidian throne that dominated the chamber's far end. Captain Sarah Chen stood alone in the center of it all, the only figure refusing to bow. King Vorthak the Eternal rose from his throne, his 12-foot frame draped in robes woven from captured starlight, his 4 eyes, each the size of dinner plates, fixed upon the small human with what his species considered divine fury. When he spoke, his voice resonated through both the air and the telepathic frequencies that most sentient species could perceive. "Mortal!" the voice boomed, causing several of the kneeling courtiers to tremble. "You stand in the presence of the sovereign of 7 star systems, the crusher of the rebellion of Andromeda, the being before whom even death itself bows. You will kneel, and you will speak only when given permission." Sarah tilted her head slightly, studying the alien monarch with the same casual interest she might show a particularly colorful insect. Then, without warning, she threw back her head and laughed. The sound was shocking in its humanity, not the careful, modulated tones of diplomatic discourse, nor the terrified whimpering the king usually heard from prisoners. It was a full-throated, genuine laugh that echoed off the crystalline walls and seemed to make the very air vibrate with mirth. The silence that followed was absolute. Even the bioluminescent veins in the walls seemed to dim, as if the palace itself was holding its breath. King Vorthak's voice wavered for the first time in 3 centuries. "Did you just laugh at us?" "Oh, absolutely," Sarah replied, wiping a tear from her eye. "Sorry, it's just, before whom even death itself bows. That's what you're going with? Did you workshop that title, or was it a first draft situation?" A collective gasp rippled through the assembled court. Several of the more sensitive species actually fainted, their forms crumpling to the polished floor. The king's 4 eyes narrowed to slits. "You dare mock the titles granted to us by conquest and divine right? Look, your majesty, can I call you Vorthak? Great. Here's the thing." Sarah began walking closer to the throne, her casual stride causing the guards to raise their energy weapons. "I've been to about 40 different worlds in the past 5 years, and you know what I've learned? Every single eternal ruler, every God Emperor, every supreme overlord I've met has the same problem." She paused, looking up at the towering figure. "You all take yourselves way too seriously." "Silence!" Vorthak roared, his voice now accompanied by a psychic assault that would have reduced most beings to gibbering madness. "You will show proper respect or what?" Sarah interrupted, completely unaffected by the mental attack. "You'll kill me? Torture me? Feed me to your pet space monsters?" She shrugged. "Been there, done that, got the commemorative t-shirt. The hegemony of Proxima Centauri gave me a really nice one, actually. It glows in the dark." The king stumbled backward, his massive form suddenly seeming less imposing. "How are you? Your mind should be shattered. Our psychic dominance is absolute." "Yeah, funny story about that." Sarah reached into her jacket pocket, causing a dozen weapons to track her movement. She pulled out what appeared to be a simple metal disc. Turns out, when your species evolved on a world where the biggest predator was the size of a house cat, you never really developed proper mental defenses. Humans? We came from a planet that was actively trying to kill us every single day for millions of years. She held up the disc. This little beauty is a standard-issue Human Defense Corps neural shield. Cost about 15 credits to manufacture. It blocks psychic attacks from any known species. She grinned. Unknown species, too, apparently. Impossible, Vorthak whispered, but there was doubt creeping into his voice. The collective of wise minds told us that humans were primitive, barely evolved from beasts. Oh, we're definitely evolved. From beasts? Sarah agreed cheerfully. That's what makes us so good at this. She gestured around the throne room. You see, every species you've conquered, they evolved in stable environments. Nice, predictable worlds where cooperation and hierarchy made sense. They're naturally inclined to submit to authority. She took another step forward. Humans evolved on a death world. We're the descendants of creatures that looked at something bigger, meaner, and more dangerous than themselves and thought, I bet I could take that in a fight. We're not wired for submission, Your Majesty. We're wired for defiance. You speak of defiance, Vorthak said, rallying some of his imperial composure. But you are still alone. One human against our entire empire. Sarah's grin widened. Am I? As if summoned by her words, the lights in the throne room suddenly shifted, from blue to red. Emergency klaxons began wailing throughout the palace. Through the massive windows, they could see Human Defense Corps ships materializing from hyperspace, their sleek forms cutting through the Zephyrian fleet like knives through paper. You see, Sarah continued conversationally as chaos erupted. Around them, while you were demanding respect and building monuments to your own magnificence, we were making friends. Real friends, not subjects. Turns out most species don't actually enjoy being conquered. Who knew? The king's 4 eyes were now wide with something approaching panic. This is impossible. Our defenses were designed to stop species that fight the way you think fighting should be done. All noble and honorable and predictable. Sarah's expression grew serious for the first time. We don't fight that way. We fight to win. As if to emphasize her point, a new voice crackled through the palace's communication system. This is Admiral Martinez of the Human Defense Corps. King Vorthak, you are surrounded. Surrender now, and we'll discuss terms for the peaceful transition of your former empire. Vorthak stared at Sarah, his massive frame now seeming somehow diminished. How? Easy, Sarah replied. We did what humans do best. We looked at an impossible situation, laughed in its face, and then got creative. She paused, studying the defeated monarch. Oh, and we made really, really good friends along the way. Turns out, people appreciate not being conquered. The king slowly sank back onto his throne, the weight of his empire's collapse settling on, his shoulders like a physical thing. Around them, his court was in full panic, but Sarah just stood there, hands in her pockets, waiting. What happens now? Vorthak asked quietly. Sarah's expression softened slightly. Now? Now you get to learn what most of the galaxy already knows. Life's a lot more fun when you're not trying to be a god. She turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Vorthak? Next time someone laughs at your titles, maybe ask yourself if they might have a point. As she walked away, her footsteps echoing through the vast chamber, Sarah couldn't help but smile. Another tyrant down, another world free to laugh again. And in a universe full of wonders, laughter was still humanity's greatest gift.